All right, man. Torture Talk after hours. You know what it is. So today we're gonna be talking about Pusha T, Kendrick, and what's going to happen when they collaboration drop. And yeah, man. So let's see what's going on. Torture Talk. You know what it is. We'll be back. All right, man. So let's get it going.
Now, when it comes to what's going on in hip hop, we are truly on the verge of witnessing a lyrical showdown like no other, as right now, we are about to see what multiple of the greatest rappers ever have to offer in a time where both their presence has never been more needed, and when people have never wanted to hear what they have to say more. And now, before we go into what we are about to see with both the return of Pusha T and Clipse, and also Lil Wayne with the Carter 6, and what this is going to mean for new beefs and old ones, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and as the next moves we are about to see in hip-hop over the next few weeks are going to be the biggest thing we have seen in the genre really since Kendrick Lamar in the Super Bowl. Make sure to leave that like so all of hip-hop knows what's going down. And now with that,
I'm gonna put it to you like this. I'm gonna be doing a review of the new Lil Wayne song. I'm not gonna tell y'all how I feel about it yet, but I'm gonna be doing a review on my main channel that should come out maybe tomorrow. I got a lot of videos I did this weekend and getting prepared for this week. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the Carter 6. I feel like, you know what? I'm not even gonna speak on that. I'll talk about it when I when I drop the joint. Let's keep it going.
when it comes to all of the excitement going on in rap, well, if you are waiting for things to get more competitive over the next few weeks, we are about to see the genre do just that, and really why this is over everything else is because rap has now welcomed the return of the only other person who could even call themselves something close to the boogeyman in none other than Pusha T, and now with Push. Well, in this era where Kendrick Lamar has been leading the league in every statistical category possible, and because of his dominance, it's at the very least felt like 99% of the field of rappers has ran away from the booth and being competitive in general. Well, Push is being the antithesis of these soft rappers and is embracing the lane that Kendrick Lamar has paved. And now, if Kendrick Lamar has started the job of fixing hip hop and getting all these vultures to be exposed and leave, it almost feels like Push is trying to finish the job Kendrick started, or at the very least, just prove once and for all that in this era where it has never been easier to spot the real and the fakes and the MCs who are in this thing for the right and wrong reasons, that after decades of being in the rap game and having beefs with some of the biggest stars ever, based on what we have seen from Push on the new Clipse song H Trumpets and with what he is trying to do with this entire album and era of his career. Well, aside from getting one of the greatest rap duos of all time with one of the best producers ever for another classic, Push wants to take out every.
I feel the same way. I definitely think that we have arrived in a period where hip hop to me is going back to the roots, back to the lyrics. I think that a lot of people don't want to rap no more because they've been being so lazy over the years, and now that Kendrick Lamar and Pusha and Lil Wayne, and I'm telling y'all, this is the reason why I think Drake is gonna go right to rapping, because I think he knows that this is the period where nobody really wants to hear that melodic singing shit no more. Nobody wants to hear that no more. You got some people still, but nobody really cares for that no more. People want to hear you rap now, or be creative. That's what people want.
Rapper who has ever wronged him once and for all. And now, while Kendrick has done the job on Drake, so there's not much to do there, as now two rappers have defeated Drake in a rap beef like few other defeats have ever been handed to somebody, there are still some massive names that Push wants to settle the score on, and who he wants everybody to realize that he is absolutely better than once and for all. And if you have not noticed, out of this entire list, the biggest name that Push is looking to really just embarrass in this era more than anyone else is who you could say is his longest standing rival in none other than Lil Wayne. And now, if you don't believe that Push is getting ready to try his best to embarrass Wayne, let's just look at the timeline of events leading up to the return of Push and Clipse and the entire rollout for this record for that matter, which in its entirety pretty much involves Push sitting on this album for almost an entire year at this point and then turning it in and signing a deal with Jay-Z's Roc Nation to distribute it right around the time that Lil Wayne's Carter 6 is about to drop, and right as this record is expected to release on June 6th for Wayne, 1 week before that record drops, and on the same day that Wayne released an entire tape with Manny Fresh with a new song and remixes to hype people up for that record, which you could say is the real start to the planned rollout that Wayne and his team have had for this record.
So Lil Wayne has a mixtape? I'm gonna listen to that tonight. I didn't know he dropped a mixtape. I didn't know Lil Wayne dropped a mixtape. This is what I'll be talking about. I didn't know he dropped a mixtape.
All of a sudden, Push comes out with this amazing lead single to the Clipse record to start their rollout, and overall, when you compare the two tracks that just came out, while everyone is making fun of Wayne for releasing a confusing track with way too much auto-tune that just feels like a mess and feels like the most anticlimactic and really lame thing to lead up one of the most anticipated rap records for so long with, at the same time as that, Push and Clipse are being praised for releasing one of the best songs of the year that from the beats to the bars could literally not have been better. I mean, when you see all this conversation and the way that these two artists came out today to get ready for their next big moments, I do not believe for a second that when bringing Clipse back out and running back one of the greatest duos that rap has ever seen, that Push did this by coincidence, because really, with Push deciding to line up the return of something so special and that from the first track that we have heard alone is so clearly high level, right alongside Wayne's Carter 6 album, which again, when it comes to Push being the other boogeyman and master tactician in rap, I mean, you see the play is so clear. Really, when we look into this and why Push is deciding to compete with Wayne just like he has, it's because he clearly smells weakness coming from Wayne's end of things, and
the crazy thing is, when the Clipse album drops, I believe it drops July 11th or July 1st. I think July 11th. July 11th when it drops. Excuse me, I've been up. I'm sorry. It drops July 11th. I think Lil Wayne album drops June the 26th or something. I don't know when his album dropped, but this is going to be crazy because maybe Wayne's probably going to have Drake on that album. If he has Drake on that album and then the Clipse have Kendrick on their album, man, we in for a long ride. I'm telling you now, we in for a long ride.
This time where they are going to be the two legends releasing these blockbuster summertime albums for this corner of hip-hop and music, well, clearly Push believes that he can take down Wayne and win their long-standing beef once and for all, and also prove in the process that while Wayne is not who he was long ago and that he has fallen all far from that, Push is better than he ever was. And again, not to disrespect Wayne, but when it comes to this weakness that Push sees so clearly and that I am talking about, I mean, when you look at these two records, you can see the difference very clearly, because when we look at the Clipse album, before anything else, when you see that Pharrell is doing the entire production on this thing, and then in addition, the expected features are Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, and Nas, that speaks volumes. And then compare that to Wayne, and the things he's most excited about are an MGK and Miley Cyrus feature and a Billie Eilish sample. I mean, when we have seen Wayne talk about this thing, and even with the interview he did kinda recently, what the common theme that's driving the Carter 6 so far has been is just absolute randomness and confusion, which even with the cover, that was literally fan art that people have made multiple years ago and have shown off work that has been very similar to it. Overall, with the Carter 6, everything just looks like an absolute mess, which meanwhile at the same time.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I mean, at this point, Lil Wayne should be doing much more than what he's been doing as an artist. I really feel like he's so stuck in a time that it's just like he's stuck in the past. And it's like a lot of these artists are like that. They don't want to. Kendrick said it best. Old ass flows trying to convince me that you their favorite. Like that, bro. That bar hits so hard because I feel that way about a lot of these rappers, man. It's so crazy.
In this long-standing beef, and when really Wayne has never looked more lost and confused, Push is now seeing that when he called Wayne a multi-platinum rapper who was trapped and can't retire back on the Daytona track that started the Drake beef Infrared, that sentiment has never felt more true, because really, unless the Carter 6 does something that nobody is expecting, from the features to the rollout to the latest move Wayne has made with this questionable song and Manny Fresh mix to bring in its release, I don't even want to say it, but everything about this record really does feel off, and for how legendary of a series the Carter albums are, and for how hyped up the last one was even at that, you would be lying to yourself if you said that something didn't feel very weird in terms of there just being little to no hype for this record overall, and just with the strategy and vision feeling so messy and confusing. And now as the Carter 6 is a week away from release, and again Push is crafting this perfect plan to take over and win this beef once and for all, Wayne better have some bars ready for his longtime rival and Push, or just have a record that does not seem as confusing and pointless as its rollout otherwise has shown. Because otherwise, if Wayne fails with what Push is doing with this whole strategy is just starting his rollout alongside Wayne's with a way better single, and then letting Wayne drop and flop, and then ultimately having Clipse release a record which is going to show how a rapper from that era should age with an actual album of the year contender, and gets.
The crazy thing is, so he said this album's coming out in a week. So if this album coming out in a week, that would be this week coming up. I don't even know if I'm ready to listen to this Carter album. I might do a whole live listening to it, just so I could get y'all reaction. I might just do a whole live listening to it, but I don't know.
Considering all of the beef and all of the competition in hip-hop, having a record that good, or in Wayne's case, having a record that bad, is never going to make or break perception more in this era where people are more in tune to these things that matter as a whole. So really at this point, it really looks like Lil Wayne is falling into a trap where he is going to look bad whether he knows it or not. And I mean, if this is how Push is going to end this beef once and for all, and really also end a lot of the conversations around Wayne that happened since the Super Bowl by showing that he is not the guy that people have said he was, and that the fake outrage after the Super Bowl halftime show didn't really mean anything, I mean, Push is really going to show that he is one of the worst rappers to ever beef against, because alongside Kendrick Lamar, they are just beefing with you in ways that you can't even fathom unless you were at the very top of your game. And now alongside Lil Wayne, another rapper that Push has made it very clear that he wants to walk past now and show everybody else that he has outlasted this crash out, is none other than Kanye, and now with Ye. After he has been ranting for months about Push and has tried to say so many off-putting things about the guy who he made so many great songs with, which when it comes to everything Ye has said, we are not even going to get into all of it because it's pointless, but pretty much in the midst of Ye's anger and delusion, he called Push a fake tough guy and a fraud, and then he also tried to say that Push stood on his shoulders to diss Drake. Well, after embarrassing himself and saying all of this, Push came out rolling with this new Clipse song and had some bars ready for Ye, as he said, "Look at them, him and him still waiting on Yeezy. I hope you got your squeegees. At your interviews, I just kiki, life's peachy, ASAP, and Riri." And now with these bars, well, Push pretty much said that Ye is washed and the guy that he and everybody else once loved is no longer there. And as Push says this while also making fun of Ye's interviews in the process, which again, as Ye did say these things about Push in his interview with Ack, it seems like a direct response and play off of that. I mean, really, in the smoothest way possible, Push has just clowned Ye, and it's clear that on some level, these disses worked because Ye has already said that after this track released, that he misses his friendship with Pusha T, and I think aside from Ye saying something like this, as Push has learned that the guy...
Come on, bro. You post you missing, man. Listen, bro. I'm sorry. I just don't get you dudes be doing and saying certain things. It's so crazy to me. I'm not posting I miss somebody, bro. I rarely say anything to women, but I'm not posting I miss another man. That's out of control. I'm sorry.
Like him one day and then diss him the next. They will never be good, and I am sure that Push is gonna have more choice words for Ye on this album, just like the other two rappers who he also wants to let know that he is the real boogeyman, both in Drake, who I am sure there are gonna be some small lines at him which are gonna laugh at the absolute joke of a state his career is in, and also Jim Jones, who there were already some disses for which were supposed to be on this album that were previewed at a Louis Vuitton event way back, and from those lines which responded directly to the beef that they were in at the time, to a lot more which I'm sure will flesh out and settle the score there. You should really expect Push to come for Jim and clean up yet another W in a back and forth, and now with all of this. Well, if you are watching Pusha T and what he is doing now that he is back with the absolute dream team of his brother Malice and Pharrell Williams, if you are not on his side, I would not just be scared, but I would be terrified, because it's so clear that now after 23 years since he came out on the rap scene, Push is trying to send a message to both his contemporaries from his era and every other rapper ever and every other hip-hop fan, that despite everything that has happened and all of the people who he used to work with and be against crashing out and falling off in ways that you could have never imagined, Push is still standing near the top of the rap game, and at that, he is creating just as amazing albums as he was at the beginning of his career, if not better. And this is really why with Push, you just gotta fear Push, because really at this point in the entire history of hip-hop, I don't think we have seen a rapper at this state in their career still be so focused on delivering just purely great music with no other reason just for the glory of the game. And really because of this, as we wait to see what Push is really going to do in this next chapter of his career, all we can do is just sit back and wait to see absolute peak hip-hop. And so now with all this said, let me know, what do you think about what's going on?
So, I didn't even know, well, I didn't know that him and Jim Jones had an issue. But I want to say this. Jim Jones is cool, but Pusha T will clean him up quickly. Now I heard that Jim Jones has an issue with Styles P. Like, come on, bro. Jim, you cool, bro, but you have an issue with these dudes who are better than you, bro. They better than you. I mean, I guess Jim Jones can, like, he's actually better than what he was. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I like his last two projects. He was actually pretty fire. But for me to sit here and say that dude is better than these dudes, nah way. Nah, I'm sorry. But tell me what y'all think, man. Y'all think this is gonna be actually a good summer? How y'all feel about the Clipse album and in the Lil Wayne's Carter album? What y'all think is gonna happen? So I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace. Bye, man. I'm gone. Time to go get something to eat.